Hello, welcome to Money Mindset Mentors. My name is Laura Lee Kenny, and I'm from New Brunswick, Canada. And I have the great privilege of doing some interviews with some people that have done extraordinarily well in their professional lives. Now, sometimes it doesn't always equate to huge amounts of money, but they make and I want them to. But sometimes it's that they're making a huge difference in other people's lives. And there's just in the process of beginning to build that particular business. So there's a variety of things we talk about. Sometimes I just come on myself and we do some mentoring, thoughts around money mindset, because we all know that we need to start with the mindset first. But why do I get to say that I can talk about money? Well, I had the privilege for 25 years to help guide and empower people as a financial planner and I specialized in retirement planning. So it was a little bit more unique to specialize in that area, but I loved it. It was just wonderful. And now I have the passion to teach financial literacy to younger people. And in the process of doing that, I it was suggested to me to do a podcast on it. So that's where the idea originated. And I'm blessed to, like I said, bring some different people in different avenues of life to come in here and tell us some inspiring messages and stories and suggestions of how they have made a huge difference. Now, today, I'm going to interview somebody that happens to be on this same social business platform that we're on right today. And I've had the pleasure of having a chat with him. Now, his name is Michael Lang. Now, that's a famous name if you're looking up for movie stars. But Michael is a husband, a father of three. He tells me three young. Well, I was going to say some are teenagers, but not them all. And he started out in his business career as an architect for a couple of years, and decided that wasn't quite what he wanted to do. And he's progressed in different ways of inspiring and coaching other people to set up their businesses. And he's got something really unique. And part of it is part of his software in this company, but he works in an area that is really touches me, because my goal is to set up a nonprofit to teach financial literacy, mindset, and passive income streams. So when I had heard what he was doing, I wanted him to come share his story. So let's welcome Michael to the platform and get to find out more about him. There
Hi,
you
thanks for
are.
having me on the show.
You're more than welcome. Okay. Now, I told a little bit about the architect story, or that version of your life. Would you like to continue from there a little bit, or you can just tell about what you're doing now?
Yeah, so from architecture, I just happened to be writing a little bit of code to automate what I was doing, and I just found I had a passion for writing code more than architecture. And so just started, finding jobs in that. And after I was doing it for a while, the employers wanted me to teach people. So at first reluctantly, I was like, okay, I guess I'll show them what I learned. But then as I was doing it, I realized that I actually liked it quite a bit. So over the years, I ran a number of not ran not ran groups, but was guest presenter at a number of groups in the tech community, and then over the years, eventually I decided to start my own school and to do coaching on a more regular basis. And that was called Nexul Academy, and it's still operating today. It's doing well. I've got students all the time. But then something my students needed was a real project to work on, because a lot of companies only want to hire people that have experience, even if it's an entry level job, which is kind of counterintuitive in some ways. Entry level should mean they haven't done it yet. But so they needed a way to get some experience. And so, I started another, just a project. It was meant to just be a side project at first. Um, and so it was, and I just thought, well, what could that project be? And there was some political things going on at the time, and disagreements with family. And it was the kind of the time of year that a lot of things were going on in politics, and a lot of family is in the news. You could hear stories of people disagreeing in the same household, even. So,
Oh,
so I
I
was trying
bet.
to find a way to, yeah, so I was trying to find a way to bring people back together and find commonalities. And so it was meant to be a political platform in that respect, to try to help identify those areas instead of the memes that you see on Facebook and other networks.
Mm.
Um, and so that part of that came down to trying to get nonprofits involved and trying to get them to help curate data and so forth. And as part of doing that, um, I they really told me what their real problems were and things that they really need. We don't have time to do that because we've got all these other problems. So, being the problem solver, I tackled those problems, and one of those big problems was fundraising and the dealing with fees and event management and managing their websites. And so we kind of went down that path with a product, and students were helping me along the way, doing some of the implementations. But I had to kind of guide the vision on that. And so it was meant to be a platform to solve the need of those nonprofits. And initially, it was just political nonprofits, when it's about getting out the vote or so on and so forth. And at some point, I was like, well, I don't know why this is really limited to politics.
Yeah.
It's helping any with fundraising. So we just kind of opened it up from there to any nonprofit.
Mm. I was interested. I was going to ask you why the difference is. Oh, I need to get my tongue back. What the difference was, why you chose to just specialize or start with, I should say, political, but you had added on to just to get people out to vote. And I say to many people, if you didn't vote, you do not get to complain.
Right.
Only once you've voted, then you can voice your opinion to me on something, but if you say, "Oh, well, my vote doesn't make a difference," well, then I don't wanna hear your comments on things, if you're not gonna participate in it. But
Yeah.
it is true, in many households, lots of people don't know what the person voted, and sometimes my husband and I have not, um, talked about who we were supporting, and we're more in line with voting for the person, not the party. So we've not never been steadfast that here in Canada, the main two parties are liberal and conservative. You have different terms for yours, but it's still a more of a liberal mindset as opposed to a conservative mindset. But we have many other political parties in addition, just the same as you. You have a lot of independence and stuff, and so I love that you're doing that part of it. Now, would you like there you go. Yeah, your camera's back on. Wonderful. But then you just took it to the next level and you started doing courses with students. And as we know, when we have a project to work on, all this information makes more sense and it's retained with the students. So maybe elaborate a little bit more on that, what you go through with the students, or do you still have students?
Yeah, I do still have students. Yeah, so I mean, it's really when you're doing course exercises, you're going through a curriculum of some kind. It's usually broken down into more simple steps so that people can follow along. And you kind of lose reality when you do that. It's not really ever going to be exactly like doing a real thing because it's meant to hone in on certain skills per exercise. And so you kind of lose the touch with bringing things together into a bigger solution. And so when I have students I have them do the main courseware and learn individual things, but then they come together and they do a bigger project at the end, that kind of
Mm.
puts it all together. So a project that they would do actually on the job somewhere after they get finish their training. So they get actual experience doing a real project.
Oh, yes, it makes more sense, and the difference in excitement for them from working on a real project as to doing a course exercise would be so different because they'd see in real time the difference that they made in working on that project.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
just
all
want to
liked it. It was
comment below here. I popped up, I featured the civicdawn.org organization that is a clickable link should somebody want to be clicking on that to go directly to your link. Um, but on the left-hand side here, that if anybody watching a replay that's in here, they can just click on Michael's name and there's a tab there that'll take them directly to your site for them to be able to contact you, which is wonderful. Make it, we need to make it
yeah.
easy for people to connect with you. Now, in addition, let's talk a little bit more how you serve with the nonprofit aspect of it, because you do something that's very unique, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's so one of the things that they're struggling with is when they're fundraising, everybody most people are taking credit card payments for their
Mhm,
fundraising if they're doing it online, especially. Maybe not their corporate big check sponsors, but they do have a lot of online grassroots supporters with online credit cards. And all the credit card processors are charging approximately 3%. It's like
mhm,
2.9 plus 30 cents, or it varies. Sometimes 3.5% plus some amount of cents, depending on the type of transaction. And so that's essentially 3% of their revenue out the door. So $3,000 on $100,000 just out the door. And
mhm,
that's a lot to lose out on. And so what we do is we help them recover that money, um, not necessarily by the credit card company not charging them, but by asking the donor after they choose, let's say they want to give $10 or $100. The next step is, well, could you like more of that to actually go? Would you like all of that to go to the nonprofit and just add an extra dollar or an extra $3 depending what the donation amount was, so that the nonprofit actually gets that $10 or $100.
mhm. Yeah,
So that's
sometimes
just
it's
part of
surprising. People genuinely want to help out. Sometimes it doesn't cross their mind that by using the credit card that there is a percentage goes. We intuitively know that, but it doesn't cross our minds all the time that
it.
it's that much. And I can remember decades ago, I was adamant about supporting a couple of children in Africa to feed them, and I was so devastated years later because I chose to give up going to the hairdresser once a week to get my hair done in order to be able to do it. We didn't have much money, so can you imagine that I had to swap something out in order to do that? And then I
Right.
come to find out that my donation, 85% of it went to management and only 15% went to the children in Africa to help actually feed them.
Yeah.
I just was like, "Oh, so disappointed." Now, grant you those children would not have had some of the money that they had, but so much of the money back then, because we didn't have the computers the way we do now, the administration cost was so high, and they had buildings and offices that they felt that they needed to have. A lot of that has changed, so much more money can be put into the nonprofits and facilitate it much quicker and easier.
Right. Yeah, I think their margins are a lot better now and that more of their money goes to the cause,
Mhm.
depending on the charity. But still, there's still that 3%. That's if you can just get that
Oh,
extra 3%,
yes. W
that's an extra 3% that can go to actually fulfilling their purpose.
Absolutely. But you now, tell a little bit more about how you're able to do this for them.
Sure. Yeah, so we do not actually charge them any fees at all to use this. We don't
Mhm,
charge the charity or nonprofit any fees. Instead, what we do is, so part of the checkout flow is you say you wanted to give $10. The next step, we're saying, would you like to cover fees? And we put a little box down there also saying, we do this as a free service to the nonprofit. If you could help us continue to operate by giving a little tip, we'd appreciate it. Um, Slightly different words, but that's what we're telling them.
Mm.
And so about 90% or so, 90% or 95% of people agree to go, oh, sure, I'll go give an extra buck for that as well. So we're operating essentially, and so instead of charging the nonprofit the fee, we're just asking the donor, can you please support us as well? So it's
Oh,
kind of like a
yes. I didn't
secondary
like
donation in a way.
Yeah, I didn't like to say that out loud. I wanted it to come from you, but that's how I understood it from you. And I thought,
Yeah.
wow, this is just so wonderful. Your natural giving personality, wanting to help out. You found a need, just like when you started your school. You found a need that people needed and wanted and would make their life, their businesses better, and you're fulfilling that.
Yeah.
Mm.
And we try to do more services for them as well with that, to make it to help them be more successful and get more donations while they're on the platform as well. So we do
Mm.
have other things to help them with that.
You're more than welcome if you want to share that with us.
Yeah. One of the things we have is event ticketing. So if you're going to have a gala or any other kind of in-person event, we do offer ticketing for that, and we've got different ticket tiers. So you could have a free online ticket combined with a $100 in-person dinner ticket, and other tickets for other things. Maybe you got a $200 ticket that if they pay that one, they get to like see, talk to some VIP guest that's also there. Any number of upsells that you want, but we have all of those ticket options on the ticketing page, so that when somebody is buying a ticket, they can pick the right one. And that is also just goes to the same donation flow as any other normal donation. So also covering the fees and optional tip to Civic Dawn as well. Um, and so along with that, we give them a marketing page for that. So they can actually broadcast that page for that event on their social media. We also are happy to broadcast their events on our social media as well, on our LinkedIn and our Facebook. Um, yeah, that's the main things that we offer them.
Oh, I just love it. I look forward to, shared with you before, I look forward to us having a combined joint effort when I get my nonprofit going, because every little bit helps. And it's not only you doing that, promoting it in addition is a huge factor to get
Right.
the word out there, to get your name known and recognized.
Yeah, we do get donations to nonprofits that they wouldn't have received otherwise. So
Oh,
there's
I
there's
bet.
certainly no harm to bring on another fundraising source through Civic Talk.
Oh my goodness. Now, what type of staff do you have involved with this right now, Michael? Maybe you'd like to tell a little bit about them.
Yeah, so there's me. I'm working on the technical side, and then I have an outreach manager, account manager. Their job is to ensure nonprofits are successful on the platform. Her name is Katie, and she might be tuned in or she's watching the replay. But she will help nonprofits claim their profile, help them set up their fundraising so that it's really easy and just easy to do, to make it really low stress. Because a lot of nonprofits, the last thing they need is another chore to do. So we're there as much as we can to help them get everything set up, and we don't charge anything for the setup fees or anything. It's all about the
Oh,
tips at the
I'm
end.
just so impressed with you and what you're doing. When I first heard a little tiny bit about it, it's like all I heard about is like he helps nonprofits. I was like, okay, that's it. I want to know more. And I did not expect, because I've talked to some people that they have businesses where they actually help people to write to other companies, to big organizations, and ask for donations, and
Mhm.
that's their whole business, and they run quite a business doing that. So that is part of what you actually do in addition, I believe.
We don't particularly write like grant letters or anything. We do have some partner organizations we've talked to that we're happy to refer people to on that though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and some other organizations we talked to that will help them get set up to do free advertising in Facebook. We don't actually do that work itself, but we do have partners that we refer people to for that as well. So you can talk to
Mm,
us and we'll help you with a lot of those things, or at least refer you to the right people.
mm. Oh, that's it's lovely, the connections that you make, I've been so blessed to the connections I have made here on this platform on Be Connected because they it's all business people to begin with. So we don't
Yeah.
post about, oh, I ate this for lunch, or this is, like we do a lot of fun things in addition, but it's business oriented. And I'm so blessed to have been introduced to it because we're able to connect with one another and help one another and guide one another in different areas. So maybe you'd like to talk about some of the connections you've made on here.
Well, I made a connection to you. That was a good first helpful step.
Thank you.
Um, there's a couple other connections I've made on here. I do need to explore the platform more to use the connection generator more. I kind of started out with the reason I first came was like, oh, it's a better platform than Zoom for a video conference, and so that was
Hmm.
like my initial need. And I didn't even realize it would be a place to find connections until people started connecting. And then I was like, oh, I didn't realize that was part of the platform. So,
Well, for me, I was like, I had just been cloned for the third time. I've told this story so many times on Facebook. And when you get cloned on Facebook, it's LinkedIn. And unfortunately, I've been cloned on I've been meant to say Facebook and Instagram, but I was also cloned on Facebook, LinkedIn, and I had an account that was over 20 some years old because I had started when Facebook first started, and I didn't really do anything with it because all the people that were there as financial planners, they were mainly in the States, and we couldn't work together anyway. Like, they just wanted to sell me their products, and I was like, sorry, I do the same thing. So it's not going to be advantageous to them to have me as a client. It just
right,
wasn't going to work for what they were doing. So I walked away from it for a long time. So I had to start over. And because of being a financial planner, I think the people thought, oh, it'd be great. She's connected to people that have some money, especially since I was into retirement planning. And they would ask my friends, well, they would say, pretend they're me and pretend that one time I was in jail. Another time I was in the hospital. A third time my husband was in the hospital and he needed a heart operation. And could I help them out? And I just was like, oh my Lord, I live in Canada. Our operations are paid for by our taxes. I don't need help like that. So sorry, my hubby was just wanting to come in and say hello. um that yes, we needed some prayers, but we didn't need any money. And I would never ask on social media for money from people unless it was something that I was setting up a GoFundMe page for somebody that had got burnt out or something along that line, or had a personal tragedy. That's the only way I would do it, but for myself, I didn't need to do it, and I wasn't going to do it. So, thankfully, some people reached out to me and told me, and we would contact the people at B and say, "Sorry."
sorry.
I used to say I was
I used to
hacked,
say,
but now I know that I need to say I was cloned.
yeah, I hadn't seen it referred to that way before.
Yeah, technically, it's I was cloned because they didn't take over my account. They copied my account and they would take my name and put the letter S or the number 5 somewhere in my name so you didn't notice it right away because I
Mm,
have a longer name to begin with. And anyway, that's what they would do. And people would think that they were talking to me or referring to me, but it wasn't. So I love the fact that it was doing that when they had said about, so that you're able, the connection generator to connect with business people. I thought that's wonderful. And they told me that it would be monetized. And I was like, whatever. That's really not that was I can afford to pay the $50 a month, so I'm fine with that. If I happen to and I share things with people, of course, just like anybody else. You find your favorite restaurant, you find your favorite book, you share that information to people. And I thought, oh, if I make enough to pay for my account, bonus. So I have more money, more revenue to work on my business. Little did I know that there would be such that they were offering such value for the pricing. I mean, they have a free account for people to be able to do the platform, and it's a lot more time than the 40 minutes that one of the other platforms give you. And,
Right.
anyway, so I was generally excited and pleased. But when I learned more about the passive income stream for it, I thought, "Oh, this is perfect," because it's something that is, small amount that I can teach younger people that they can get involved with this. If something pays you for helping you run your business smarter, more effectively, more efficiently, that's a bonus to get paid for it.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm. So I have a couple of other questions I'd like to ask you, and it may not pertain to your business, but it might. I would like you to tell me who inspires you right now to be able to get up in the morning and go and do things, whether it's a mentor, family, it doesn't matter. Who inspires you right now?
Wow, it's a tough one. Um,
Yes.
I would say, and at least within the last month, this is strange to say, but it's actually my oldest son, who's a
Hmm.
senior. He started an Instagram channel, St. Louis in the Know, and he just started telling he started as a school project, but he started just telling stories about St. Louis and history and talking about voting issues and inequities in voting in different parts of the city, and he grew that to like 400,000 views in a week, and he's got almost 19,000 followers just in a couple weeks, and it's like, how are
Wow.
you doing that? Like, I was not able to do that myself in that short of time.
Oh
So,
my goodness, you
uh,
need to hire that boy.
right.
Oh my
So I'm
gosh,
always
that
thinking,
is inspiring.
right. So I'm always thinking, what can I do to get that level of social traction? Uh,
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is impressive. Now, my
yeah.
next question with you, I'd like you to tell us your words of wisdom that you would like to share with anybody going forward. I'm sure you have, whether you've come up with yourself or someone else has said it to you, that like words to live by.
Okay. One thing that I tell my students all the time is that you know more than you think you know. A lot of people that come into tech, especially, they have imposter syndrome. They think they're not doing as good as who they're looking at next to them, and so they will probably never get a job. They'll never be successful. Um, but I look at them and I know it. Like, I have worked with people like you. You definitely know what you're doing. So just keep at it, keep going for it, and you'll be successful. Your mindset totally matters. Like, if you think you're going to fail, you will fail. So you need to have a little bit more positive outlook on things. Just take take credit for what you have done and use that to build up your confidence and know that you can do better and that you will continue to improve and you'll be successful.
That's beautiful, Michael. I thank you so much for that. Um, we thank anyone that's taken the time to come listen and or watch the replay. We're blessed that you're here. Remember, if you want to reach out to Michael, click on his pitch, the tab under his picture on the left-hand side, or you also will see a link to his website on the right-hand side here. And like we say on Be in Be Connected, don't just supersize your group, monetize it. With Be Connected, it's be seen, be heard, be connected with one another. I like to also say, have a great day and a better tomorrow. Blessings to all.
Bye. Have a good day.